Hi YouTube and welcome to the Money Mental UK YouTube channel. For those of you new to the channel, my name's Andrew, part-time eBay reseller and a mental health advocate. And today, as we are 8 days into 2020, I thought I would say Happy New Year first of all to all of my friends across America, Australia, Canada, the UK and wherever else you may be watching from. I assume the Chinese New Year is different. So if you're in China and the New Year hasn't started, then I apologise. I'll say Happy New Year at that time, possibly, if you remind me. I've seen a trend. People are setting out their business goals, personal goals, etc. for the new year and indeed the new decade, the 2020s. So I thought I would set out my business goals. Now, normally I don't review my business goals until the start of the new financial year. I work financial year to financial year, but I like jumping on a bandwagon, so here I am on the bandwagon. And what I've done is I've set out 10 goals, which you can maybe see on the laptop here, for 2020, and I'm going to do like a monthly, or more frequently if people want more frequently, but certainly a monthly at least update on where I am on those goals. Now I've set those goals out into two distinct categories, and there's 5 in each category. So there's 10 overall with 2 categories with 5 in each. The first 5 categories are what I call my realistic goals, ones that I think that I can achieve and get to this year. The second are my dreams, my ultimate aspirations that I would love to get to, but I don't know whether I can. And certainly if I can, it's going to involve hitting the first 5 in the realistic goals anyway before I can even start about them. So, what are my goals? Well, the first one that I put in my realistic, and one that I'm working on at the minute, is to get the tat out of my house. Basically, I still have a lot of unlisted stock that's in my house that I trip over on a frequent basis, as anyone watching Drinking with Andrew will see. I want to get all of that unlisted stuff out of my house. I only want stuff in my house that's listed and inventoried and in its appropriate place, or that is about to be listed and it's in my sort of backlog to work through that week. I don't want huge piles of tat anymore in the house, because it just makes it look untidy. You can't have people around and it's just horrendous. So my first goal, which I'm hoping, thank you Barty for I'm filming on YouTube, stop barking. Barty, shush, come here, never film with animals or children. So my first target for that, to get that done, is by the end of January, and I think that's achievable. I've been working the last sort of few days, couple of weeks, on getting stuff out, and I'm nearly there. The only thing that hinders me at the minute is not having enough storage tubs and having to save money up to buy those. So because a lot of my money is normally spent as soon as I get it, but yeah, I'm slowly moving towards that, and I hope by the end of January that I'll be able to report that that I've achieved that aim. And then the second is that all of the tat that's coming out of the house is going into my storage unit at the minute, popularly known as the cow shed. That cow shed is getting very full, but the reason it's getting so full is because a lot of what's in there isn't organised. It's not sort of boxed up or put on shelves or anything. It's just in piles or cardboard boxes or whatever. Really needs to get out of those, get put on shelves or get put in proper storage containers, so that it's all organised and some of the spaces is freed up, and I can then start seeing what I've got, because ideally I want to start taking stuff out of there so that I can list it. At the minute I'm just putting stuff in there. It's just becoming like a repository. So repository or depository, anyway, one of those things. So yeah, I want to get that organised, start getting stuff out of there, getting it listed, and doing that, getting it organised first off, and then getting it to a stage where I can start pulling the stuff out to list it, and I'm decreasing the amount of stock in there and decreasing the death piles. Means I can move to objective number 3, which is moving on to smaller storage. I want to take the cow shed is a massive amount of storage, and for that to nearly be full means that I've got a lot of inventory. I want to get to a stage where actually I can move to somewhere cheaper, because that's cost me £330 a month in rent at the minute, which I was willing to pay at the time because I had an office attached to it, and I thought I could work from that office, and I would properly focus on things. But actually, I'm finding that I work better from home, so there's no need for me to have storage with an office attached. So I've come across 40-foot shipping containers at a location in Wrexham. So hopefully I'm going to be able to move into one of those probably around March time, because I think that's when my tenancy runs out on the cow shed, and I don't want to renew that tenancy really. I don't mind if it takes a month or so longer than planned, but I don't want to get into another tenancy agreement on it. So ideally in March, when my tenancy comes into an end, I'll be able to move into a 40-foot shipping container. But I need to get those deathpiles and that stock organised, ready for that move. So again, objective 2 needs to happen before I can move to smaller storage objective 3. Also, to support that, I need to actually list and sell stuff. So objective number 4 is to get to the stage where I'm listing at least 10 items every day. Now that might not sound a lot, but I am part-time. I work a lot of hours with my day job, and I'm often away with my day job. So I don't always have a lot of time after I've shipped orders to list stuff as well. And I'm often quite tired and just not motivated to do it. So I need to motivate myself to list at least 10 items a day or 70 items a week. I don't mind if I slip a couple of days, as long as in the week I've hit at least 70 items, I'm happy. But that way, hopefully I'll be sort of gradually increasing the size of my store. I mean, I sell about 50 or 60 items a week normally anyway, so even with 70 items a day listed, I'm not growing my store very much. So I might need to review that and up that at some point. But at the minute, I think listing 10 items a day, hopefully a realistic goal. And to support that, I do also need to free up some of the time from other tasks that I'm doing around the business. Well, number 5 is the finances and keeping on top of those. Doing a lot of transactions, etc. Means that I have to spend a lot of time doing bookkeeping. I do use QuickBooks to handle my accounts, the self-employed app, but that doesn't handle multi-currency transactions, and I get a lot of multi-currency transactions because I sell overseas on other websites apart from eBay UK, or eBay sites that is, and I do other things to earn money as well outside of eBay, etc. Quite often that are paid in American dollars and stuff. So none of my PayPal transactions pull through, which means I have to upload CSV files and go through and tag and identify each transaction, which can take a bit of time and messing about, especially when it fails, which it quite often does. So I'm spending hours and hours, sometimes a month, doing all this stuff, and I came to the stage the other day after spending 2 days sorting out my accounting that I've had enough of it, and I'm going to get a bookkeeper / accountant to sort these things out for me. It won't be until the new financial year. I want to get through the current tax year, get everything up to date on that, and then move my accounts to my new accountant / bookkeeper in the new tax year, and get them taking on responsibility from the start of the tax year, basically. So I'll be doing my current self-assessment and everything this month, and getting all that through and all my accounts, and I'll be getting them fully up to date. And indeed, when it comes to the next self-assessment period, I'll be submitting that myself rather than putting that through the accountants, because I've got all those figures and that information. So I'll be doing that as soon as I can in the new tax year, or as soon as I can, basically. So yeah, getting a new accountant will free up time. I found an accountant and bookkeeper who will do what I need to do, got the e-commerce expertise that I'm looking for. I can offer a good self-employed package for about £30 a month, and they'll handle everything for me. So take a bit of time to get there and to negotiate the appropriate price of the services I want, because I know I don't want to be spending hundreds and hundreds. But yeah, I found them, and yeah, I mean, a good accountant anyway will save me in the long term, because they'll, A, they're a tax deductible expense, and B, they'll figure out ways to or expenses and such like that I'm not aware of that I can claim for to help with the overall tax bill. So I see that as an advantage. And then moving on to the dreams, again, these are the things that I think can really only happen after the 5 items above have happened, and are happening or happening on a consistent basis, e.g. with doing the number of listings. My first dream is to hit a 6k 60-day figure, so that's £3 a month of turnover on eBay, or if you work it out over a year, £36,000 a year turnover. Now I've been pretty close to hitting the 5k figure before, but never got past the 5k figure. So 6k is really pushing it. It means we're going to have to work hard at the eBay. But if I do that, I've got an accountant there supporting all the transactions, the bookkeeping, etc. So that frees me up to do listing. I've got the deathpiles sorted. I've got, a good amount of stock that I can go through and list. My listing process is such that I'm listing at least 10 items a day. Hopefully get to a stage where I'm listing more. Then I feel that 6k is achievable. Even just working from the backlog of stock I've got at the minute. We're doing no more sourcing because I've got, thousands of items in the backlog anyway. I think that figure's achievable. But it does need me to get everything else sorted out first. I get to the stage where actually I'm not demotivated in the house either by the amount of stuff that's lying around. So getting that environment set up and working, really key. But that's probably my most realistic of the dream goals that I've got. If I don't hit it, I'm not going to beat myself up. If I do hit it, I'll be delighted, and I do think it's possible. If I hit that and I start hitting that consistently, that'll mean, because I don't spend huge amounts of stock. I don't need to spend huge amounts of stock. I know how to source and get good quality stuff that'll make me money. So that will enable me to start putting aside some really good amounts of cash each month into the business account. And with that cash, I'd like to put aside, and it sounds like a large figure, and it's possibly too large a one. I might revise this later in the year, but I'd like to put aside about £5,000 to start an Amazon FBA business with. Now, not all that money will go on stock. Some of it will go on the other things I need to support that business, and we'll go into what those are nearer the time if I do start doing it. But I'd like to put about £5,000 aside. It's also not necessary to spend on the business. Part of that is because I think if I start focusing on Amazon, by virtue of the fact that I'm spreading myself a bit thinner, I'm going to stop focusing on eBay as much for that period of time until I've got myself to the stage where I can fully understand Amazon and how it works for me. And I think it's going to be a bit of a transition period, so the eBay earnings might go down a bit, but if I've got that £5,000 set aside, I can dip into that as and when needed to support myself anyway, so it's a bit of a safety net for me too. So yeah, as I say, it's not, I've called it to start Amazon with, but it's a safety net. It's money for stock, it's money for other things that I'll need to do to support the Amazon business as well. But if I do that, if I've got that to that stage where I've got Amazon started off, I've managed to save up £5,000, and yeah, I've invested some of that, but I'll start getting that back hopefully in disbursements from Amazon, payments from Amazon. So I've got to the stage where Amazon's starting to bring money in. eBay is doing the 6k 60-day figure. I want to then be able to put aside an extra £500 a month over and above what I put now towards paying off my my debts that I accumulated sort of in my past life. So yeah, that's an extra £500 a month on top of what I already pay, which will make a substantial difference to the level of debts I've got. I mean, I can pay them off a lot quicker and bring me closer towards my dream of becoming a full-time reseller. And actually, if I've built up expertise and knowledge in running an eBay and an Amazon business in parallel as well, then again, that's another step to me becoming full-time reseller. So really, all those sort of steps sort of combine together to help me achieve my sort of long-term career goal, if you'd like. And then finally, number 4 is to actually start, once I've got Amazon and eBay ticking over, I know what I'm doing, I can then focus a bit more on my YouTube, because I enjoy YouTube. At the minute, it's purely a hobby for me. It does make me a little bit of money, which is great and very much appreciated, because every penny really does count at the minute, the position I'm in at the moment. And I know I can do YouTube much better though than I am at the minute. I can do properly edited content, etc. But it's all down to having the time to invest, to build up the expertise to do what I need to do on it. you know, to learn how to edit, to learn how to add even music to tracks and stuff like that, you know, background music, whatever else that doesn't get me a copyright violation, and you know, just produce some slick content. I'd like to get to the stage where I can go out with a GoPro, film myself out and about, produce videos that are well received and good content that help others like the stuff that I've watched on YouTube. And so I'd like to get to a stage where I can do that, but my first priority always has to be earning enough money to support myself and clear down those debts that I mentioned before. So, you know, until that stage, YouTube will continue to be a hobby for me, but I know to take it to the next level, to get past, you know, even 2,000 subs, I need to start doing better at it. So that's a long-term sort of aspiration that I'd like to do. And then finally, once I've got, you know, my eBay sorted, my Amazon sorted, my YouTube sorted, I say finally, I might do this sooner. It depends how bored I get really, or how exciting or how much demand there is for it. But I'd like to start my own merch range, you know, producing top quality monumental UK merchandise for the subscribers to produce and enjoy, to support the channel and to support me, but also to help them feel involved as part of the monumental community that, you know, we built up over here. So, you know, t-shirts, mugs, etc., all that good stuff that people like to buy to show their support. But I see that as, you know, a long-term thing, and unless there's sufficient demand sooner for it. It might not be a slightly different take as well to what others do. Might not be more around the comedy, etc., that we all like and enjoy. But yeah, a long-term thing that I'll play with once I've sorted out the businesses and the eBay and Amazon businesses, then got the YouTube and everything else towards the point and where I'm starting to make significant contributions towards my debt, so I can relax a little and start doing things like that I enjoy. So yeah, anyway, that was a bit of a long video, but thought I'd talk you through those objectives. As I say, there I want to try and be accountable with this, so I want to give updates on the YouTube every so often, probably once a month, but maybe sooner if the demand is out there, to say how I'm getting on with each goal. And you know, some of it I'll be able to show visually as well, so I'll be able to show you the house post the chat leaving. I'll be able to show you how I've got the storage in the cowshed organised. I'll be able to show you the move towards the smaller storage. Sorry folks, I ran out of storage space on the camera then. Yeah, so as I was saying, some of those things I'll be able to show you. Some of the objectives, like listing 10 items a day, probably difficult to show because stuff sell. I could show you what I started with each day and what I ended with each day, but stuff will sell in the meantime, which will affect those numbers. So I'll just give a verbal update on that, and obviously getting an accountant, etc. I'll talk about that when that happens, and we'll, as I go through each month, I'll share with you how that experience is going. 60-day totals I can share, that's not a problem. Putting aside money to start Amazon Move, I don't really want to share financial details on eBay, on you know, my accounts, etc. on YouTube. So obviously I won't, but I'll give you a verbal update on things like that if I get towards that stage. And anything like seeing the YouTube content and the merch, well, you'll be able to see that just by watching the channel. So yeah, those are my 2020 aims. Let me know what you think below. Let me know what your sort of goals and aims are as well. It'd be interesting to see what you guys and girls are all working towards. Alright, thanks for watching folks. See you on the next video. Bye for now.